Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé, happily ever after. Let's watch.
He's pulling some shabby stuff, and I said, let me go talk to my lawyer.
Right.
The way Michael's acting right now, our marriage is in trouble. Because with all the shady behavior he's pulling, I just can't trust him. I've never questioned if Michael was using me to get to America, because I always knew he loved me.
You've never questioned? I mean, maybe it's been a long time since I've watched Angela, and it's been many years. You can hear my dog whining. Would you like to meet my dog? This is Leia. Say hello to the camera times. She's a licker and a whiner. Oh, so much dog hair. The other one is around here too. Obi, come here. He's running around because I think he caught wind or sight of a squirrel or a coyote or a raccoon or another cat. You know, we live in a more woodsy area of Seattle, and so there's a lot of animals, and he is obsessed, so he's running around. Anyway, so I don't remember everything that happened with Angela and Michael, but she's framing it like this is the very first time that she's ever questioned his love, which I think has been happening pretty much on a episode by episode basis since the beginning. But anyway, so I think, she's going to a lawyer, talking about divorce. And then I think, well, do we think that Angela and Michael are going to work out and that it's a good thing for either one of them to be in this relationship? Because there's so many issues. And so sometimes I'm like, well, maybe this is for the best. I mean, what do you think?
But lately he's not proving it. So I'm beginning to think he's been scamming me all along. I wanted to get an update on Michael's spousal visa, because at this point right now, even though I want to go visit Billy in Canada, I can't go nowhere until I know from my point of view where I stand in this marriage.
Okay, good. I guess I didn't give her the benefit of the doubt that she would be thinking this, so thank goodness that she's like, okay, well, I can't go now. I would have told her that if I were her friend, that she should have been at this place where she's really reckoning with her marriage well before overtly flirting with another man online. I know, right? It just makes you want to whine about it.
It's been really since I've had surgery. He hasn't, he's always wanted to see my boobs. He's always, we don't do phone sex. Like, it's just weird.
As an attorney.
So we have some more data that to her absolutely indicates that he's cheating and that he's just in it for the money and the green card. We hear that they haven't had phone sex and that he hasn't said, I love you in 5 months. And okay, that last one I would say is somewhat of a data point, right? And we would want to ask him, though, has she said it to him? Is there a reason for that? I don't know. I hope we get Michael's perspective, because we just have no idea what's really happening until we talk to him.
One of my principal responsibilities is to counsel my clients concerning the law. However, sometimes people do get me confused with a therapist, and Angela tends to reveal details about her personal life that I really don't care to know.
Yeah, I'm guessing, and I know actually because I talk to attorneys, there are different approaches to this. There's nothing wrong with an attorney saying, well, I can be a good friend. They're a client, so if they want to cry or vent or something, I'm here for them. And other attorneys are like, look, I'm your lawyer, so let's just keep it to that. And I have other things to do with my time. So you should probably talk with a therapist about that. Sounds like he's more the latter.
Well, you're running into the typical problems with a long-range romance.
It also sounds like he's saying that this has happened often, where she will go to him and talk about what's happening in the marriage, and he's not appreciative of that. So that's interesting. We could see that, right? That she would have frequent bouts of this feeling because we've seen it on camera. So it sounds like it's happening a lot, even off camera. And maybe one of the first places she goes where she feels like she's doing something about it is to go to her lawyer. And for the attorney, he's like, well, So are we talking about divorce? Because we could start heading in that direction, and then she doesn't, because that's not really what's happening for her, which is another, I wonder if that's what's happening here, is that she feels hurt or worried about a relationship, distance, and her conscious behavior, maybe even her conscious mind, her overt behavior or conscious mind, is I'm done with him. He's lying. He's cheating. He's playing me, and I'm not going to be played. So I'm out, and I hate him. And I've decided. Dog's barking. I just saw a bunny actually run by, so that's probably bunny time. Anyway, so I imagine that she would say, "That's it. I'm going to the lawyer," and then she goes to the attorney's office. But really, she doesn't want to leave him because she's been in this state many, many times. I'm done with you. You're dead to me. And she's still with him. So she needs a better way to communicate that she's hurt.
Okay.
But he asked me for money right after Christmas. I told him, no, we got bills to pay. They come first. And when I told him no, it just seems like, I don't know what happened. Started putting his Instagram up. We had an agreement.
So I'm just going to take a guess and say that she is leaving a lot of things out. So according to her, he asked for money and she said, we have bills to pay, which does that not include his bills because they're married? But anyway, so I don't know, maybe he's a gold digger, who knows? But so then she says, and I don't even know what happened. And then he started his Instagram. So it's like, wait, what? So he asked for money, you said no. And then there's no detail about what happened. And then he started an Instagram, and that's supposed to mean what exactly? But anyway, she's about to talk about the agreement that they had.
He's betrayed me by that Instagram. And then I asked you to take it down, and let me show you what he said.
Send me $5K, I will take it down.
All right, well, that's not great, right? What does that mean? And it doesn't look good, and has it stated, maybe there's a broader context here. But I don't know, there's just a lot that we just don't know. But that certainly doesn't look great.
Now, what husband says that to your wife?
Well, there's a lot of things that we could say. What spouse does that to their spouse when it applies to her behavior? I mean, what spouse physically abuses? I mean, well, a lot of spouses. What spouse takes a cake and pushes it in your face? What spouse continually threatens divorce and flirts with other people online, in public?
I send Michael money so he can buy groceries, make payments on his car, because I'm the one that didn't want Michael to work because so many things can go wrong in Nigeria. But lately, Michael's...
Wait, okay, so there's context. She doesn't want him to work. Now, who knows? Maybe it was just a suggestion, but we could imagine that it would be a bit of a demand from her. So he is completely dependent on her for money. And if she's refusing to, follow up on her agreement with not only sending him money, but also getting him a visa so he can come out to the States and then work. And then her reasons are, I don't understand them. So she says, I don't want him to work because of, let's rewind that.
I send Michael money so he can buy groceries, make payments on his car, because I'm the one that didn't want Michael to work because so many things can go wrong in Nigeria. But lately, Michael's...
So many things can go wrong in Nigeria. What? I mean, the only thing that sort of occurs to me, which doesn't sound right, is that if he got wrapped up in the mob or something, like criminal activity. Am I missing something? Do you know what she's referring to?
He's been asking me to send more money. And I just told him right now I can't because I have to take care of these grandkids. And instead of him trying to understand my point of view, the first thing he did was put up his Instagram, knowing damn well it would trigger me because I've always been sensitive about his social media because of how he did me in the past.
Oh, right. And they're about to show the clip, and I forgot about that. But again, I'm just going to take a guess and say that from Michael's perspective, he's like, what's happening right now? No movement on the visa. She's no longer sending me money. What's happening? We haven't seen each other in 2 years. There's been no movement towards rectifying that. Is this relationship over? And if so, then I don't feel like following all these rules. I'm going to have my own Instagram. or he's cheating. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to find out today, but.
I found the Instagram account. Why the hell are you following all them freaking women?
I have no reason.
So you're telling me you don't look at their big booties, you don't look at their poses, you don't look at their face.
I'll get you off my page, okay?
She's saying that he follows women, attractive women or other women on Instagram, and that's why he can't have an Instagram. Now, who knows? Maybe if we saw it, we'd be like, wow, that's pretty suspicious that half of the accounts you follow are, the sort of accounts that are obviously trying to attract people who are attracted to them. And that in and of itself isn't a problem, but you could see a spouse having a problem with that. Okay, so how come he didn't just scale back on that? Why was it a complete ban on him having social media at all? Now, I don't know. Let's continue.
I don't want to lose you.
This is why I feel like maybe he is scamming me, because all he's doing is rubbing salt into an open damn wound. And that's not the Michael I fell in love with, and I can't trust him.
It's just the same statements all the time. I'm reminded of how often she will say things like this, where she seems totally sure of herself. He is a scumbag. I mean, pretty much from the beginning. And these, proclamations of I'm done, this is over. And it's not really over, right? If it were over, I'd be like, okay, I guess it's over, but it's not really over. He knows, and Michael's been through this so many times, that he's like, well, she does this all the time. So, I'll just, I guess, adjust a little bit, but eventually she'll come around because she always does this.
He's never been like that about money. I'm starting to think maybe he really is a scammer. Now, I could be wrong because I'm upset and I'm hurt deeply in my heart.
Okay, so some awareness, which we've seen before, I'm reminded of. And why wouldn't you have that perspective more often? Like the assuredness that she seems to have in these situations is, I don't know. And then I wonder, is she just saying that to say that to come across as more reasonable? Is she drumming up the drama for the show? Does she feel like she has to come out strong because she's trying to run away from humiliation or something? Is it just the way she talks or something? If she were my client, couples therapy, I would really try to drill down on that, because I would say the perspective and the swings you have and the language you use is so extreme. Like, let's talk about other options of communicating and expressing yourself, because I think another part of it is she becomes convinced of the extreme.
I'm not surprised concerning the money that Michael is asking from Angela. I believe that ultimately that is his expectation, that Angela will be the source of his money. I don't see how this ends up coming to the happily ever after that she's looking for.
Presumably this attorney knows a lot more details than we do, but based on what we saw, that seems like a pretty hasty conclusion based on very little information. The attorney's basically saying that Michael is a gold digger and is deceiving and basically a psychopathic scammer, based on the fact that Michael asked for money, that one text. But then when we hear that Angela either suggested or forbade Michael from working, we're like, well, is that really a thing? Now, then you think $5,000, it sounds like a lot of money. I don't know what his expenses are. I don't know. There's just so many questions.
You've got to make a decision. I believe that the visa will not take very long. If it were to come in tomorrow, it wouldn't surprise
me. Oh my God, Lou.
Okay? Michael could come anytime. It could be next month.
Oh my God. I don't know if that's good news or not for me right now, Lou.
You need to make a decision before this happens.
We don't have long.
If Michael were to come out, I think it actually would be good for the two of them. I think they actually do genuinely care about each other, and I think she's being triggered by the distance, that she starts to get paranoid, and there are ideas that come into her head, and then she reacts. Whereas if he were in the States, I'm guessing that that would be reduced significantly. And I think they're capable of having a good relationship. So, I mean, a good enough relationship, or at least I'd be interested to see what would happen.
We have run the gamut trying to get Michael into the country, and we are getting very close to the finish line. Angela really does have to think about it, but she doesn't have too much time.
I really believe in my heart if he was over here, our life would be different. Like, I know he wouldn't be that person he is over there.
Right. Who knows what person he is over there, but at the very least, I think she's saying what I was saying, was that if he came out, he would have the opportunity to reassure her, at the very least by just being in her visual field and not cheating on her, right? That things would be a lot different. So it's interesting that talking with him for the first time on the show anyway is actually allowing her to think more rationally. Now, I think for her sake, for her needs to be met, I'm guessing, again, total speculation based on what's on the show that they're presenting, that she would do well by herself by having him come out and trying it out for a couple years, because they've never had that. They've never had post-marriage living together times. And I think, I don't know, things would probably work out, or at least, again, well enough, or it would be a worthy experiment given everything that they've been through, right? So I hope that she considers that.
What if he is that kind of person?
Right. The tiger's not going to change his stripes just because he comes to the U.S.
I just thought Michael...
So you know what the stripes, he's a tiger, that kind of thing. I mean, he's making a lot of assumptions. And we just have to wonder. We don't know about him. I don't want to accuse him of anything, but so frequently the white Americans are suspicious of the foreigner. It's this assumption that they're in it for the money only and the visa, and they're all scammers. And now what I'll say is that some might be. I mean, we most recently saw with Eve and Muhammad, right? We don't really know what Muhammad's motivation was at the beginning. We also don't know if Eve is actually being abusive. That's a whole other allegation that apparently Muhammad claims, but there's a lot of arrows pointing to Muhammad, at the very least, a long time ago, wasn't really interested in actually spending the rest of his life with Eve, maybe never from the very beginning, and was at some point, if not from the beginning, scamming her. She found texts that indicated that he was cheating on her, at the very least emotionally online, and was saying things like, I love you, I want to be with you, I just have to wait till I get my green card and then I can leave Eve and I can be with you. So certainly that happens, and boy, it's just so upsetting to think about all that. And then again, he apparently claims he has a recording of her being abusive. And I'll reserve judgment. I don't know. I think a lot of people suspect that he's lying about that, but and both could be true. He could be scamming her and has been scamming her for some time, if not from the beginning, and she could also be abusive. It's hard to picture, but I know well enough to know that abusive people come in all shapes and sizes and behavior. So who knows what really happened, and we might not ever know. We just have the allegations, so we just have to wonder about that. So, certainly it happens, but so often the white Americans are just assuming that that's always what happened, what's happening based on almost no information. So it kind of looks that way, but I don't want to accuse him. Maybe he knows a lot of details pointing in that direction.
And I'm hoping he is. I don't know right now if Michael's just being stupid and trying to get my attention, or is he really just showing me his true damn colors? These last 2 years apart have been hell. But if Michael comes over to the U.S. and leaves me, I don't even know if I can bear that heartache. Right.
This has been another hypothesis I've been having over this episode, is that for her, it's like your last stop off the train, so to speak, that she's like, well, if something bad is going to happen, it's better to get out now than to bring him over here. And, it's if I just divorced him and he didn't have the visa, he would never come to the States, and it would just be this, I would just, get away from it. because I'm so terrified of being hurt. And as a way of avoiding being hurt, I can just make up the story in my mind that he obviously is cheating on me. And so I'm getting out ahead of that. And that's a style, and I wonder if she has that actually, that for some people, when they have a question mark regarding attachments, one way of coping with, I don't think this is very common, but it's common enough. One way of coping with it is assuming the worst. Actually, hypochondria can be this as well. Like you'll have a weird pain in your stomach or something. Oh, it's appendicitis. There's this notion that if I assume it's the worst, then I don't have to sit in limbo or constantly worry. I'll just decide, yes, it is the worst case scenario, and I can move forward knowing that I'm about to die from this pain in my, or knowing that he's obviously cheating on me. I just know. It's a way of establishing some level of control, some certainty in life when there's no way of establishing certainty about your partner cheating, one, and two, particularly in a situation like this. You just don't know. And that's why you build a trusting relationship with someone and really find all the ways of bonding so that you can feel better within that uncertainty. But there's always uncertainty. But anyway, so I wonder if for her, the reason why she is doing her thing again is because she's scared, which, would make sense. Doesn't justify any of this, though. It doesn't justify the behavior. I just want to be clear about that we can understand why people are abusive, but it doesn't make any of it okay. There's so many other ways to behave, right?
So you let me know what you want me to do.
I just got to think on this.
Yeah, so I could see the attorney getting a little tired of this, as he was indicating earlier. It's like, so you came here and you told me all the stuff that's happening, but you don't want me to do anything. Like there's no petition you want me to file. There's no action you want me to take. There's no paperwork. It's just, it's the same situation as the last time I talked about. I could see how he would be like, look, when you make a choice about a legal matter, I am your person because you are my client. But until then, how about you talk to a therapist? All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.